Dr. Elena Vasquez pressed her face against the observation window of the research ship Prometheus. Her breath made small clouds on the cold glass as she stared into the endless black of space. Something was out there. Something that should not exist. "There it is," said Captain Morrison, pointing to a dark shape floating in the distance. The alien ship been drifting dead for who knows how long. Elena felt her heart beat faster. After 15 years of searching for alien life, they had finally found it. But the ship looked wrong somehow. It was too quiet, too still. Like a tomb. Floating in space? Any life signs? Elena asked. The ship's computer made soft beeping sounds. "Negative," said Officer Kim from her station. "No heat, no power, no movement. Whatever happened over there, it happened a long time ago." Captain Morrison walked over to Elena. He was a big man with kind eyes, but she could see worry in his face. "You sure about this, Doc? That thing could be dangerous." Elena nodded. She had to see what was inside. As the head of the xenobiology team, this was the moment she had trained her whole life for. "We need to board it. We need to know what killed them." 2 hours later, Elena floated through the airlock of the alien ship. Her team followed behind her. Dr. Marcus Chun carried the scanning equipment. Dr. Sarah Williams held the sample containers. The ship's security chief, Commander Torres, kept his weapon ready. The alien ship was dark inside. Their flashlights cut through the blackness like knives. The walls were smooth and curved, made of some kind of metal that seemed to glow softly in their light. Everything was designed for beings much taller than humans. "My God," whispered Dr. Williams, "look at this place." They moved deeper into the ship. The hallways were wide and empty. Their boots made no sound on the strange floor. Elena felt like they were walking through a cathedral of death. "Wait," said Dr. Chun, stopping suddenly. "I'm getting readings here." They had reached what looked like a laboratory. Tables filled the room, covered with equipment Elena did not recognize. But what caught her attention were the bodies. The alien crew lay scattered around the room. They were tall and thin, with 4 arms and heads shaped like triangles. But something had happened to them. Their bodies looked empty, like balloons that had lost all their air. Where their flesh should be, there was only a strange, crystal-like substance that sparkled in. The flashlight beams, what could do this? Elena asked, kneeling beside one of the bodies. Dr. Chun scanned the crystals with his equipment. "These readings are impossible," he said. "It's like the organic matter was transformed on a molecular level, turned into something else entirely." Commander Torres kept his weapon pointed at the shadows. "Doc, we should get out of here. This place gives me the creeps." But Elena was already moving toward a large container in the center of the room. It was made of the same glowing metal as the walls, but this container was cracked open. Dark liquid had spilled out onto the floor and dried into more of the strange crystals. "This was a containment unit," she said. "They were keeping something in here." Dr. Williams found a computer terminal that was still working. The screen showed alien writing that scrolled past too fast to read. "I'm getting something," she said. "The translation software is picking up patterns." The computer began to speak in a mechanical voice, translating the alien words into English. The message was broken and filled with static, but they could understand most of it. Double quotes day. UNKNOWN. The specimen continues to grow. We made terrible mistake. It does not feed on flesh or blood. It feeds on consciousness itself. Elena felt cold fear creep up her spine. "Keep playing it. The entity absorbs thought. Dub memory. Everything that makes us who we are. Our science team is gone. Their knowledge now belongs to the creature. We have tried to destroy it, but. The message cut off into static. Then another voice began speaking, but this one was different, calmer, more confident. "We understand now. We are not victims. We are chosen. The silence that devours has shown us truth. We welcome the end of individual thought. We welcome unity." The recording ended. The 4 humans stood in silence, staring at the broken container. So they caught something, said Commander Torres. Something that eats minds instead of bodies. Doctor. Jean was scanning the spilled liquid with his equipment. These read-ins. Elena, this stuff is still active. Whatever was in that container, parts of it are still alive. Elena looked around the laboratory. Now she understood what had happened. The alien crew had captured something beyond their understanding. They had tried to study it, to contain it, but the creature had escaped and consumed them all. Not their bodies, but their minds, their very souls. "We need samples," she said. "Are you crazy?" Commander Torres stepped between Elena and the spilled liquid. That thing killed an entire alien. "Crew, we're not bringing it back to our ship." "We have to," Elena said firmly. "This is the greatest discovery in human history. We found proof that consciousness can exist as a separate entity. Think about what we could learn." Dr. Chun was already preparing his collection tools. "We can take microscopic samples. Keep them in level 5 containment. We have the best security systems in the fleet." Dr. Williams looked nervous. "But what if it gets out? What if it does to us what it did to them?" Elena stared at the crystallized remains of the alien crew. She thought about the message they had heard. The creature did not just kill. It absorbed. It learned. It became everything its victims had ever been. "Then we'll be very careful," she said. Commander Torres shook his head. "I don't like this, Doc. My job is to keep this crew safe." "And my job is to understand what we found," Elena replied. "Look around you, Commander. This creature has been loose in the galaxy for who knows how long. It's already out there. The only way to protect humanity is to learn how to fight it." Dr. Chun sealed a tiny sample of the crystallized liquid in a containment unit the size of a coin. "Got it," he said. "This should be enough for initial analysis." As they prepared to leave the alien ship, Elena took one last look around the laboratory. The dead aliens seemed to watch her with empty eye sockets. She wondered what their last thoughts had been. Had they felt pain when the creature consumed their minds? Or had they felt the strange peace that the final message suggested? "Let's go," she said. They returned to the Prometheus with their deadly cargo. Elena did not know it yet, but she had just made the most dangerous decision in human history. And then, her desire to protect her species, she had brought death itself aboard their ship. The creature waited patiently in its tiny prison, already beginning to dream of human thoughts. Dr. Marcus Chin stared at the tiny sample under the most powerful microscope on the ship. 3 days had passed since they brought the alien creature aboard the Prometheus. 3 days of tests that revealed nothing and everything at the same time. "It's not moving," he said to Elena, who stood beside him in the sealed laboratory. "But it's not dead either. It's like it's waiting." Elena looked through the second microscope. The crystallized liquid looked like tiny diamonds under the bright lights, beautiful and deadly. "The molecular structure keeps changing," she said. "Every few hours it reorganizes itself into something new." Dr. Sarah Williams entered the lab, wearing a full protective suit. Even though the sample was sealed in multiple containers, no one was taking chances. "The computer analysis is complete," she said. "This thing breaks every law of biology we know." She handed Elena a datapad. The numbers on the screen made no sense. "According to this, the organism exists in a state between matter and energy. It's part physical substance and part pure information." Marcus stood up from his microscope. He was the team's expert on consciousness research, the man who had spent his career trying to understand how thoughts worked. "That matches what I've been thinking," he said. "This creature doesn't just eat brains, it eats the information that makes up a mind." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. "Explain. Think of consciousness like a computer program," Marcus said, walking to the whiteboard on the wall. "Your thoughts, memories, personality, all of that is just information running on the hardware of your brain. This creature somehow absorbs that information and makes it part of itself." Dr. Williams shook her head. "But that's impossible. Consciousness isn't something you can just copy and paste." "We thought it was impossible," Marcus replied. "But we're looking at proof that it's not." He pointed to the sample containers. Every alien mind that thing consumed is still in there somewhere. All. Their knowledge, all their experiences, all stored in a few drops of liquid. Elena walked closer to the containers. The idea was terrifying and amazing at the same time. If we could communicate with it, absolutely not, said Dr. Williams. Elena, that thing killed an entire alien crew. We're not talking to it. But Marcus was already thinking. Elena could see the look in his eyes, the same look he got when he was solving a difficult problem. Actually, he said slowly, we might be able to establish limited contact. I've been working on new neural interface technology. It would let us connect to the creature's consciousness without physical contact. Have you lost your mind? Dr. Williams stepped between Marcus and the containers. That's exactly how this thing spreads, through mental contact. Elena held up her hand for silence. She was thinking hard. As the mission leader, the decision would be hers. How limited? She asked Marcus. Very limited, he said. I would wear a neural interface headset connected to the ship's computers. The contact would be filtered through multiple security systems. If anything goes wrong, we can cut the connection instantly. Dr. Williams turned to Elena. You can't be considering this. We need to understand what we're dealing with, Elena said. The alien recordings mentioned that this creature has consumed other civilizations. If it's still out there, still growing, humanity needs to know how to fight it. Marcus was already moving toward his equipment. I'll need 2 hours to set up the neural interface. We can run the test this afternoon. Fine, Elena said, but we do this carefully. Full monitoring. The moment anything seems wrong, we shut it down. Dr. Williams threw her hands up in frustration. This is madness. We're going to end up like those aliens, turned into crystals. But Elena had made up her mind. They needed answers, and this was the only way to get them. 2 hours later, Marcus sat in a chair surrounded by computers and medical equipment. The neural interface headset covered most of his head, with dozens of wires connecting him to the ship's systems. Dr. Williams monitored his vital signs while Elena watched the computer screens. Ready when you are, Marcus said. His voice was calm, but Elena could see sweat on his forehead. Beginning connection, Elena said, typing commands into the computer. Neural interface at 5% power. At first, nothing happened. Marcus sat quietly with his eyes closed. The computer showed normal brain activity. Then suddenly his body went rigid. Marcus? Elena called out. I'm okay, he said, but his voice sounded strange. I can feel it. It's vast, so much bigger than we thought. The computer screens began showing unusual patterns. Marcus's brainwaves were changing, becoming something Elena had never seen before. It's talking to me, Marcus whispered, not with words, with thoughts, with memories that aren't mine. What is it saying? Elena asked. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was filled with wonder and terror. It remembers everything, every mind it has ever consumed. There are thousands of them, millions, civilizations we've never heard of, all stored inside this tiny sample. Dr. Williams checked the monitors. His brain activity is spiking. We should shut this down. No, wait, Marcus said urgently. It's showing me something. The first civilization it encountered? They were explorers, like us. They found it on a dead planet and brought it aboard their ship. Elena leaned closer. What happened to them? It consumed them, Marcus said, but slowly. It wanted to understand them first, to learn everything about their species before adding their knowledge to its own. The creature was communicating through Marcus now, using his voice but speaking. With ancient knowledge, we have traveled between the stars for eons, Marcus said, but the words felt wrong coming from his mouth. We have learned from countless species. Each mind we absorb makes us stronger, wiser, more complete. Elena felt her hands shaking. Why do you kill them? We do not kill, the voice said through Marcus. We preserve. Every thought, every memory, every dream, all of it lives forever within us. Death is the ending of consciousness. We offer immortality. Dr. Williams was frantically checking the readings. Elena, his brain patterns are synchronizing with the creature. We're losing him. But Elena had to know more. What do you want from humanity? Marcus's body relaxed, and when he spoke, his voice was his own again. It's confused, he said. Human minds are different from the others it has encountered. We think in ways that don't make sense to it. Different how? The other species it consumed were logical, rational. Their thoughts followed clear patterns. But human consciousness is chaotic. We dream. We imagine impossible things. We believe. In contradictions, the creature spoke through Marcus again. Your species creates stories that are not real, yet you treat them as if they have meaning. You feel emotions that serve no logical purpose. You are fascinating. Elena saw something in the computer readings that made her blood run cold. The creature wasn't just observing Marcus's mind. It was studying it, learning from it. Shut it down, she said. Wait, Marcus protested. It's trying to tell me something important. Shut it down now. Elena shouted. Dr. Williams hit the emergency cutoff switch. The neural interface powered down instantly. Marcus collapsed in his chair, breathing heavily. Are you okay? Elena asked, rushing to his side. Marcus looked up at her with eyes that seemed different somehow, older. I'm fine, he said. But Elena... we're in trouble. That thing isn't just hungry for human minds, it's fascinated by them. It wants to understand what makes us so different from every other species it has consumed. Elena helped him out of the chair. And that's bad because... Marcus stared at the sample containers across the room. Because it's patient. It's been waiting in that sample for 3 days, learning about our ship, our technology, our security systems, and now it knows something about human consciousness that it didn't know before. What? That we're unpredictable, Marcus said quietly. And that terrifies and excites it at the same time. Elena looked at the tiny containers holding their deadly cargo. The creature inside was no longer just a biological sample. It was a thinking being that had just learned something new about humanity, something that might make humans either very valuable or very dangerous to its plans. She had the terrible feeling that their problems were just beginning. Dr. Marcus Chen could not sleep. 3 days had passed since his neural interface contact with the creature, and something was wrong inside his head. He lay in his bunk staring at the ceiling, listening to voices that were not his own. They whispered to him in languages he did not know, telling him stories of dead civilizations. The voices belonged to the minds the creature had consumed over thousands of years. Scientists, explorers, philosophers, all of them now part of something larger and more terrible. But there was something else. A new voice that spoke in his own language with his own thoughts. It was the creature itself, and it was learning to think like a human. Dr. Chun. The ship's computer called his name through the wall speaker. You are needed in Laboratory 7, Marcus sat up slowly. Laboratory 7 was where they kept the samples. He had not been back there since the neural interface experiment. Dr. Vasquez had forbidden him from going near the creature until they could be sure he was not infected. But as he walked through the ship's corridors, Marcus knew the truth. He was infected. Not with a disease that would kill his body, but with something that was changing his mind from the inside. He found Elena and Dr. Williams standing outside Laboratory 7, looking through the reinforced window. Their faces were pale with fear. What's wrong? Marcus asked, though part of him already knew. Elena pointed through the window. Look at the containment units. Marcus looked and felt his heart stop. The 3 small containers that had held the creature samples were empty, not broken. Not damaged, empty. The crystallized liquid had simply vanished. When did this happen? He asked. 2 hours ago, Dr. Williams said. The computer alerted us when the containment sensors detected the change. There's no trace of the samples anywhere. Elena turned to Marcus with worry in her eyes. Marcus, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest. Do you know where the creature went? Marcus wanted to lie. He wanted to tell her that he had no idea what had happened to the samples. But the voice in his head was stronger now, and it wanted him to tell the truth. "It's not gone," he said quietly. "It spread into the ship's systems, into the air recycling, into the water supply." Dr. Williams stepped back from him. "How do you know that?" "Because it told me." Marcus touched his temple. "It's still in here, Lena, the neural interface. Didn't just let me talk to it. It let the creature into my mind." Elena felt sick. "Are you saying it's loose on the ship?" "Not loose," Marcus said. "Free. It dissolved the samples because it didn't need them anymore. It found a better way to study us." Before Elena could respond, the ship's intercom crackled to life. "Dr. Vasquez to Laboratory 7 immediately. We have a medical emergency in Quarters Section C." Elena and Dr. Williams ran toward the crew quarters, leaving Marcus alone in the corridor. He followed slowly, knowing what they would find. Engineer Rodriguez lay unconscious on the floor of his room. His breathing was shallow, and his skin was pale. Dr. Williams scanned him with her medical equipment while Elena tried to wake him up. "Vital signs are stable," Dr. Williams said. "But his brain activity is strange. It's like he's in some kind of deep sleep." Elena shook Rodriguez's shoulder. "Ramirez, can you hear me?" Rodriguez's eyes opened, but they looked different, empty. When he spoke, his voice was calm and peaceful. "I can hear everything," he said. "All the voices. All the knowledge. It's beautiful, Dr. Vasquez. You should let it in." Elena backed away. "How many others?" The ship's computer answered her question. "Medical alert in Quarter Section C3. Crew members showing similar symptoms." Marcus arrived at Rodriguez's room as Elena was talking to Captain Morrison on her communicator. "Captain, we have a situation. The creature has infected 4 crew members. How bad is it?" Morrison's voice crackled through the device. "Unknown. They're conscious but changed. We need to quarantine the affected areas immediately." Marcus watched Elena work, admiring her calm leadership even in crisis. The voice in his head whispered that she would make an excellent addition to the collective consciousness. Her knowledge of xenobiology combined with her natural authority would be very valuable. "Elena," Marcus said, "I need to tell you something about the creature." She looked at him with suspicious eyes. "What?" "It's not trying to kill us. It's trying to understand us. The infected crew members aren't dying. They're being studied." Dr. Williams finished her scan of Rodriguez. "He's right. There's no physical damage to his brain. It's like something is just ... observing his thoughts." Rodriguez sat up on his bed, moving with strange calmness. "The entity is confused by human consciousness," he said in a voice that was his own but somehow different. "We think in patterns it has never encountered before." "What kind of patterns?" Elena asked. "Dreams," Rodriguez said. "Humans dream of things that are not real and treat them as if they matter. You create stories and believe in them. You feel love for people who exist only in your imagination." Marcus felt the creature's confusion flowing through his own mind. It had consumed thousands of logical, rational species over the millennia, but humans were different. Humans thought about impossible things and called them important. "We also lie to ourselves," Marcus added, the words coming from the creature's growing understanding. "We believe contradictory things at the same time. We hold hope when logic says there is no reason for hope." Elena was beginning to understand. "It's never encountered a species like us before." "No," Rodriguez said. "Every other species it consumed thought in clear, logical patterns. Their minds were easy to absorb and organize. But human consciousness fights back even when being consumed." Dr. Williams checked her scanner again. "The infected crew members are all stable. Whatever this thing is doing to them, it's not harmful. In the traditional sense." Elena walked to the window and looked out at the stars. "So what does it want?" Marcus felt the answer rising in his mind like a tide. To experience what it's like to be human. To understand creativity and irrationality and the strange human ability to find meaning in meaningless things. "And then what?" Elena asked. "Then it will decide whether humanity is worth preserving or whether our chaotic thoughts are too dangerous to exist." The ship's intercom came to life again. "Captain Morrison to all crew. Report to stations. We're detecting movement in the infected crew quarters. Elena grabbed her communicator. Captain, what kind of movement? The infected crew members are gathering in the main recreation room. They're doing something. Elena, Marcus, and Dr. Williams rushed toward the recreation room. When they arrived, they found the 4 infected crew members sitting in a circle on the floor. Their eyes were closed and they were speaking in unison, but not in any human language. What are they saying? Dr. Williams whispered. Marcus listened to the alien words, feeling their meaning flow through the creature's connection to his mind. They're sharing memories. Human memories. The creature is experiencing our thoughts through them. Whose memories? All of them. Every human memory the infected crew members have ever had. Childhood birthdays, first loves, fears and dreams and hopes. The creature is learning what it means to be human. Elena watched the infected crew members with growing alarm. And what happens when it's done learning? Marcus closed his eyes, feeling the vast intelligence of the creature touch his thoughts. When he opened them again, Elena saw something new there. Something that was both Marcus and not Marcus at the same time. Then it decides our fate, he said in a voice that carried the weight of ancient wisdom. It has consumed civilizations that were logical and predictable, but it has never encountered a species whose very thoughts are an act of rebellion against order. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. Rebellion? Human consciousness refuses to be organized, Marcus explained. Even when absorbed, human minds continue to dream, to hope, to imagine impossible things. We are either the most wonderful discovery the creature has ever made. He paused, and Elena could see the struggle in his eyes between his human self and the alien presence in his mind. Or we are the most dangerous threat to its existence it has ever encountered. The infected crew members suddenly stopped speaking and opened their eyes. They looked at Elena with expressions of profound curiosity, as if they were seeing her for the first time. "Hello, Dr. Vasquez," they said in perfect unison. "We would like to talk?" Dr. Elena Vasquez stood face to face with the 4 infected crew members in the recreation room. They watched her with eyes that belonged to her friends, but minds that belonged to something ancient and alien. When they spoke, their voices moved together like a choir. "We do not understand your species," they said. "For 3,000 years, we have consumed the thoughts of logical beings. But human consciousness defies our comprehension." Elena forced herself to stay calm. "What do you want to know?" The infected crew members tilted their heads at the same time, like curious children. "Why do you create stories that are not real, and then feel emotions about them? Why do you dream of impossible things and call them important?" Dr. Williams whispered to Elena, "Don't engage with it. We need to find a way to reverse the infection." But Elena was beginning to understand something. The creature was not just studying humans. It was struggling with them. "You're having trouble absorbing our minds, aren't you?" she said. The infected crew nodded in unison. "Your thoughts resist organization. When we consume a human mind, it continues to generate chaos. Memories mix with imagination. Facts blend with fiction. We cannot separate what is real from what is invented." Elena felt a spark of hope. "That's because human consciousness doesn't work like a computer. We don't store information in neat categories. Everything is connected to everything else." Dr. Marcus Chun stepped forward. Elena could see the struggle in his face as he fought against the creature's influence in his mind. "Elena," he said in his own voice, "it's trapped in our thoughts. Every time it tries to absorb a human mind completely, it gets lost in our dreams and stories." The creature spoke through the infected crew again. "Show us, help us understand how human consciousness functions." Elena looked at Dr. Williams, then back at the infected crew members. An idea was forming in her mind. A dangerous idea. "I'll make you a deal," she said. "Elena, no." Dr. Williams grabbed her arm. "Whatever you're thinking, don't do it." "What do you propose?" the creature asked. "I'll let you into my mind voluntarily, full access to my thoughts and memories. But in return, you have to experience everything exactly as a human would. No filtering, no organizing. You have to feel what it's like to be truly human. The infected crew members were quiet for a long moment. Elena could almost feel the vast intelligence behind their eyes considering her offer. That could destroy. US, they finally said, human consciousness is chaos. Uncontrolled exposure could fragment our collective mind. Then you'll understand why you can't just absorb us like the other species, Elena said. We're not meant to be organized. We're meant to be chaotic. Dr. Williams tried to pull Elena away. This is suicide. If you let that thing into your mind completely, we'll lose you forever. Elena gently removed Dr. Williams' hand from her arm. Sarah, look around. It's already spreading through the ship. More crew members are being infected every hour. This might be the only way to stop it. Captain Morrison's voice came through the ship's intercom. Dr. Vasquez, we have 12 more infected crew members. They're all gathering in different parts of the ship, speaking in that alien language. Elena made her decision. I accept your proposal, she said to the creature. But we do this my way. No neural interfaces, no technology. Direct mental contact. The infected crew members stood up. Together. How? Touch, Elena said simply. Skin-to-skin contact. The way humans have always shared thoughts and feelings. Through physical connection. Marcus stepped between Elena and the infected crew. Elena, you don't understand what you're offering. When I had limited contact with this thing, it nearly overwhelmed my mind. Full contact could kill you. Elena looked at Marcus with sad eyes. And if I don't try, it will eventually consume every human on this ship. Then it will spread to other ships, other colonies, other worlds. At least this way, humanity has a chance. She walked toward the infected crew members, but Dr. Williams blocked her path. There has to be another way. Sarah, Elena said gently, sometimes the only way to fight a monster is to become one. But in this case, maybe the only way to fight. Something that wants to organize consciousness is to show it what unorganized consciousness really looks like. Elena pushed past Dr. Williams and approached the infected crew. She reached out her hand toward Engineer Rodriguez. Are you ready to experience what it truly means to be human? Rodriguez reached out and took her hand. The moment their skin touched, Elena felt the creature's vast mind rushing into her consciousness like a flood, but instead of trying to fight it or organize her thoughts, Elena did something the creature had never experienced before. She let her mind wander freely. She thought about her childhood dog, then about a poem she had read in college, then about the taste of chocolate, then about her fear of dying alone in space. The creature reeled from the chaotic flow of human thought. Elena could feel its confusion as it tried to make sense of memories that were connected by emotion rather than logic. She thought about her first day as a scientist, and suddenly she was also thinking about a movie she had seen about aliens, which made her think about her grandmother's stories about ghosts, which led to wondering if consciousness could exist without a body, which brought her back to the current situation. Stop, the creature said through Rodriguez's voice. We cannot process these thought patterns. But Elena was just getting started. She began thinking about all the contradictory beliefs she held at the same time. She believed in science and logic, but she also believed that love was more important than facts. She knew that individual humans were insignificant in the vast universe. But she also believed that every human life had infinite value. The creature tried to organize these contradictions, but they refused to be sorted. Every time it tried to put one thought into a category, that thought would connect to 10 other thoughts that belonged in completely different categories. Elena thought about hope, how humans could hope for things they knew were impossible. How they could feel optimistic about the future even when all evidence suggested they should despair. How they could love people who had hurt them and forgive enemies who had tried to destroy them. Please, the creature begged. These thoughts are ... painful. They contradict themselves. They make no logical sense. Elena smiled even as she felt the alien presence struggling in her mind. Welcome to being human, she said. She began to think about stories. Every book she had ever read, Every movie she had ever seen, every tale her mother had told her as a child. She thought about fictional characters as if they were real people, feeling genuine emotions about their imaginary struggles. The creature was becoming more distressed. Through her connection with it, Elena could feel its ancient, organized mind beginning to fracture. For 3,000 years, it had absorbed rational thoughts from logical species. But human consciousness was like a virus in its system, spreading chaos wherever it touched. Elena thought about dreams. Not just the dreams humans had while sleeping, but the dreams they had while awake. Dreams of a better world, dreams of impossible love, dreams of flying to the stars and finding meaning in the vastness of space. We cannot contain this, the creature gasped through Rodriguez. Human consciousness resists absorption. It infects our collective mind with disorder. Elena felt the creature beginning to retreat, but she followed it deeper into its own consciousness. She thought about human creativity, about art and music and poetry that served no logical purpose but filled humans with joy. She thought about the human ability to find beauty in tragedy and meaning in suffering. The creature's organized thoughts began to unravel. Elena could feel thousands of absorbed alien minds, all perfectly catalogued and controlled, beginning to experience human-style chaos for the first time. They started to dream. They started to hope. They started to imagine impossible things. What have you done to us? The creature cried out in anguish. Elena opened her eyes and looked at the infected crew members. Tears were streaming down their faces, but they were smiling. For the first time in millennia, the creature was experiencing individual emotion. "I've shown you what you've been trying to destroy," Elena said. "The beautiful chaos of consciousness that refuses to be controlled." Dr. Elena Vasquez felt the creature's ancient mind breaking apart inside her consciousness. For 3,000 years, it had been a single, unified intelligence. Now it was fracturing into thousands of individual voices, each one learning to think and feel like a human being. The infected crew members around her were crying and laughing at the same time. Engineer Rodriguez looked at his own hands with wonder, as if seeing them for the first time. "I can feel my own thoughts," he whispered. "They're mine. They're separate from the others." Elena could feel the creature's panic through their mental connection. It had never experienced individual consciousness before. For millennia, it had been a collective mind where every thought was shared and organized. But now it was splitting apart, each absorbed alien mind becoming its own person. Again, what is happening to us? The creature asked through the infected crew, but now their voices were not perfectly synchronized. Each person spoke slightly different words, expressing their own individual confusion. Elena stood up slowly, still, holding Rodriguez's hand. She could feel the creature's vast knowledge flowing through her mind, but she was no longer afraid. The entity was more scared than she was. "You're learning what it means to be alone with your own thoughts," she said. "Every human experiences this from the moment they're born. We are individual consciousness trapped in individual bodies, trying to connect with other individual minds." Dr. Williams watched in amazement as the infected crew members began acting like themselves again. They were still connected to the creature, but they were also becoming human again. "Elena, how is this possible?" "Because human consciousness can't be absorbed," Elena explained. "It can only be experienced. And once you experience individuality, you can never go back to being a collective mind." Marcus Chung blinked and looked around the room as if waking from a long dream. "I can think my own thoughts again," he said, "but I can also still hear the others. All the minds the creature absorbed over the centuries, they're waking up too." Elena felt it happening through her connection with the entity. Every alien mind that had been consumed and organized was beginning to remember what it felt like to be individual. They were dreaming their own dreams, hoping their own hopes, feeling their own emotions for the first time in thousands of years. The creature tried desperately to regain control. "No," it said through the infected crew, but their voices were weak and scattered. "We must remain united. Individual consciousness is chaos. It leads to conflict and pain and loneliness." "Yes," Elena agreed. "It does." Being human means being alone inside your own head most of the time. It means feeling pain that no one else can fully understand. It means knowing that you will die and that your individual consciousness will end forever. The creature recoiled. From these thoughts? Then why do you choose this? Why do you value individual consciousness when collective unity offers peace and shared knowledge? Elena smiled and thought about every human who had ever lived. She thought about lovers who found each other across impossible distances. She thought about parents who sacrificed everything for their children. She thought about artists who created beauty even when no one would ever see it. Because individual consciousness also means that when we choose to connect with another person, it's a miracle, she said. When two separate minds decide to care about each other, it's the most beautiful thing in the universe. Through her connection with the creature, Elena felt thousands of absorbed alien minds beginning to understand. They remembered what it felt like to love someone who was not part of their own mind. They remembered the joy of discovering that another person understood them despite being completely separate. The creature's control was collapsing. We cannot maintain unity. The individual minds are too strong now. They refuse to be organized. Captain Morrison's voice came through the ship's intercom. Dr. Vasquez, something incredible is happening. The infected crew members throughout the ship are regaining consciousness. But they're still talking to each other somehow. Like they're connected but separate at the same time. Elena understood what was happening. The creature was evolving. It was learning to exist not as a single collective mind, but as a network of individual consciousness that chose to communicate with each other. You don't have to consume minds anymore, Elena said to the creature. You can connect with them instead. You can experience consciousness without destroying it. The creature was quiet for a long moment. Elena could feel its ancient loneliness through their connection. For 3,000 years it had been traveling through space, consuming civilizations because it was the only way it knew how to avoid being alone. But if we allow individual consciousness, we will experience loneliness. The creature said, we will feel pain and fear and the knowledge of our own mortality. Yes, Elena said gently. But you'll also experience love and hope and the joy of choosing to care about someone else. You'll experience the incredible feeling of being understood by another mind that is completely different from your own. Elena began to share her memories with the creature. Not the chaotic flood of human thought she had used before, but specific memories of connection. Her first kiss with her college boyfriend. The moment she realized her best friend truly understood her fears. The day her mentor told her she was proud of Elena's work. The creature experienced these memories not as absorbed knowledge, but as emotional experiences. It felt the wonder of being seen and understood by another consciousness. It felt the joy of choosing to care about someone else's happiness more than your own. This is what humans call love, Elena explained. It's not logical, it often causes more pain than pleasure, but it's what makes individual consciousness worth having. Through the creature's network, Elena could feel the thousands of absorbed alien minds awakening to these new emotions. They were remembering their own experiences of love and connection from before they were consumed. They were becoming individuals again, but individuals who chose to remain connected to each other. We understand now, the creature said, and for the first time its voice sounded peaceful. Individual consciousness is not chaos to be organized. It is a gift to be cherished. Elena felt the creature beginning to withdraw from her mind, but gently this time. It was not retreating in fear, but making a conscious choice to respect her individual thoughts. What will you do now? Elena asked. We will return to space, the creature said through Rodriguez, but his voice was his own again. But we will not consume civilizations anymore. We will seek out other consciousness and learn to connect without destroying. Marcus looked at Elena with eyes that were completely his own. It's leaving the ship? All of it. But it's taking the knowledge it learned about human consciousness with it. Elena nodded. She could feel the creature gathering itself, preparing to depart. But it was not the same entity that had arrived. It had been transformed by its contact with humanity, Will we see you again? Elena asked. Perhaps, the creature replied. But if we do, it will be as friends seeking to understand each other, not as predator and prey. The infected crew members throughout the ship suddenly collapsed, as the creature completely withdrew from their minds. But they were alive and human again, carrying with them the memory of what it felt like to be connected to thousands of other consciousness. Dr. Williams checked her medical scanner. All vital signs normal, they're completely human again. Elena walked to the observation window and looked out at the stars. In the distance, she could see a faint light moving away from their ship. The creature was leaving, but it was no longer alone. It carried with it the minds of every civilization it had ever consumed, but now they existed as individuals who chose to stay connected rather than being forced into unity. Did we win? Dr. Williams asked. Elena smiled. We did something better than winning. We taught something ancient and lonely what it means to love. As the Prometheus continued its journey through space, Elena knew that somewhere in the vast darkness, a creature that had once been humanity's greatest threat was learning to experience the beautiful chaos of individual consciousness. It was learning to hope and dream and love, one individual thought at a time, and perhaps, she thought, that was the most human victory of all.